right, let's bring it on home. So, obviously, I think we can sense the impact of geology while we're talking about this in a geology class, right? You're talking about Earth, geologic processes, but how does it become a hazard or a disaster? What sort of impact does it have? Well, that's where this last section is. So, when mining is created, it creates spoils, waste. Often they're called tailings. This is any unwanted waste material created during mining. You can see here that this looks like some formerly mountains, but due to mountaintop removal, all that material got dumped off to the side. So this is that unwanted waste material. So it's damaging the land. It's affecting the land. It's affecting possibly people that live there, displacing people that live there, changing the environment, changing the scenery. Massive amounts of impact. So the damage to land can be great, right? A landscape affected by mining, it can take a long time to heal. Sometimes it just never recovers. Sometimes it never recovers. And many of the surface features that were once present before mining activities cannot be replaced. You cannot replace a mountain. If you have mountaintop removal, you cannot replace a mountain. These open pits, some are miles wide. There's no replacing what you took out of there. There's no replacing that. So the removal of soil layers, if you're digging down to get to material, strip mining is a great example, or any type of mining for the most part. But removal of soil layers and deep underground digging, that can really destabilize the ground, which threatens the future of roads, buildings in the area. So if you're digging, for instance, if someone's digging a mine underneath your house and that mine collapses in, well, everything above it is collapsing in as well. Mining contributes to and speeds up erosion, landslides, sinkholes. There's your connection to some of the stuff we learned about earlier in this class throughout the semester. All right, if you're altering rock and breaking it down, you're making it more susceptible to move and break down. You're making it more susceptible to create landslides. If you're piling up material of loose material, that material can move more easily, again, via landslides. Excuse me. Underground, if you're digging out material, again, you can create sinkholes. There's your connections. So, before and after, all right, before and after. So, again, this looks like some strip mining, looks like coal strip mining. So, before and after. With strip mining, they tend to take the soil from one side, move it to the other side as they kind of continue moving off to the right. So, it can be reclaimed. Now, this is just a small snapshot. If we look a little bit to the left or to the right, it could be just horrible. But, they are attempting to reclaim the land. But you're losing the topography. You're creating this artificial flat land that may have not been there. So, in that case, sometimes the land can be revived. Strip mining kind of, in some cases, can do that. But in other cases, no. So this is before and after. So you can tell mountaintop removal, the environment's changed. The lake isn't there. I mean, it's not what it once was. This is not this anymore. This ain't coming back. All right, this ain't coming back. So the impact on land is severe. So surface mining versus subsurface mining, so underground mining. So they each have their own effects. They each have their own effects. On air, surface mining can affect air quality. Underground mining, you don't typically do that below ground. All right, all that dust and stuff kind of stays underground, so you don't have the same effect on air. You can contaminate water, whether on the surface or underground. Remember, if you're digging around underground, you might be messing with groundwater and what's going on there. On the surface, you could affect surface water, lakes, rivers, streams, but not exclusively. You can affect the soil with subsurface mining. Soil is not just dirt. Soil is valuable dirt that has minerals, organic material that's great for farming, for growing crops, for growing trees and plants. So not all dirt is soil. For instance, go out to the desert. That's dirt. That ain't soil. There ain't nothing growing in that thing. So, but surface mining can affect soil. Subsurface mining, underground mining, doesn't have that. Biodiversity. Again, surface mining will affect biodiversity. Underground, not so much. Humans, this is kind of a big one though, all right? Surface mining, minimal in mining processes. There are deaths associated with mining on the surface. Material landslides, falling cranes, accidents with big trucks and stuff. But the higher incidence effect on humans really comes in underground mining. Much higher occupational hazard in underground mines, not only from mine collapses, but also you're trapped. And if there's not good ventilation in these areas, you're in an enclosed location essentially. And if there's dust and stuff in the air, you could be inhaling that stuff. That could lead to respiratory disease, cancer, heart disease. Black lung is a famous respiratory disease that coal miners would and still get by breathing in all that coal dust. So there's a greater effect on humans underground than on the surface. But all these other things, air, water, soil, diversity, mining impacts all of these. An interesting subsurface mine effect on water that came into play a few years ago very vividly was due to acid mine drainage. In some underground mines, to help dissolve out the rock, they pump in acid. Dissolves the rock, but sometimes leaves behind what they're looking for. Well, that acid, after you're done using it, it has to go somewhere, so they kind of just keep it stored in underground pools. Well, that's all well and good if it kind of stays where it's at, maybe, right? But if it gets out, that can be an issue. So acid mine drainage, this is created when water, groundwater, mixes with kind of the acid that is used in the mining process, and it takes on a toxic level. All right, so this is nasty stuff. All right, so nasty stuff. So this toxic water, if it leaks out, this water mixed with acid, this acid mine drainage. If it leaks out of abandoned underground mines, typically, it can contaminate groundwater, surface water, streams. It can affect soil, plants, animals, humans. A lot of times, this acid mine drainage, because of the mixture of acid, water, and in the rocks that they've kind of dissolved, usually this weird yellow orangish color. And it's one of the biggest effects of mining being felt around the world. All right, is this issue? So sources of acid mine drainage can remain active for decades or centuries after a mine closes. Right, acid's acid. It can remain potent for hundreds of years, and so you get this stuff in these underground mines, and for some reason, again, it makes its way out. It can pollute. Again, groundwater, surface water, streams, lakes, affect soil, plants, animals, humans, etc. This came to rear its ugly head a few years ago in Colorado at the Gold King mine. So this is a mine, an underground mine in Colorado. It had been closed for a long time. I believe you can see one of the mine entrances right here. All right. There was a few different mine entrances, but essentially this was an underground mine into this mountain, the Gold King mine. This mine was originally discovered in 1887, abandoned in 1923. So it was abandoned for almost 100 years. In 2002, contaminated water had begun to flow from the Gold King mine. This is acid mine drainage. They started to notice that there was stuff leaking out. So known abandoned mines are monitored. They're monitored and checked. Not a lot, but they're still monitored and checked, especially for acid mine drainage. So in 2002, they noticed this mine, which was almost 80 years old at the point, abandoned for 80 years, is starting to leak some acid mine drainage. So in 2015, the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, attempted to drain and clean the pooled up water near the entrance of the mine, and it was kind of behind a little plug. The opening was kind of dammed up with rocks and boards and stuff. So they were going to take that away, use big hoses and suck out all the pooled up material. So instead of it leaking out, take it somewhere, and who knows where they would transport it. However, contractors accidentally kind of destroyed the plug, the thing holding all the water back inside the mine, and instead of being able to suck it out, they destroyed the plug, and just 3 million gallons of waste came spilling out. So the 3 million gallons of wastewater, tailings, this acid mine drainage, including heavy metals that are known poisons to humans, cadmium, lead, other toxic elements such as arsenic, beryllium, zinc, all these things which are poisonous to plants, animals, and humans. So 3 million gallons of this stuff came spilling out. All right, that had been there for 80 plus years, 90 plus years at that point. What happened? So this was up in Colorado. So that material kind of flowed out, and it got into Cement Creek, which eventually flowed into something called the Animas River, which flowed through Durango, which flowed from the Animas River into the San Juan River, which flowed through New Mexico as well. And from August 5th to August 9th, you can see it took only 4 days to get this far from middle Colorado, north of Silverton, all the way down into New Mexico. So here's the plug that they destroyed. You can see that mustard yellow acid mine drainage. So as that river flowed into Durango, Colorado, kind of in southwestern Colorado, this is a shot from above. You can see this is actually the river traveling south. You can see where it stops. Up here, the river is still clear, or still watercolored, I guess. But so you can see this is just when this is entering the Durango area, which is a major city in Colorado. These are some scientists in the acid mine drainage. You can see they have some special suits on. I probably have gloves on too, because it can be toxic. But so this is that Animas River flowing out of the Colorado mountains. This is in Durango, Colorado, a little bridge overlooking the Animas River that actually flows through town. A lot of times you can find people kayaking through here, tubing through here, but this is a side-by-side shot of Clearwater acid mine drainage. These issues aren't just issues elsewhere in poorer nations. Accidents happen here. What's the status of this now, 5-6 years later? I don't really know. Maybe it's something you can look up. But in any case, there are a number of effects from mining. This was just a very visible, shockingly visible one. That brings it to the end. But before we do, let me give you one more part of the super secret code. Let's mix it up. How about the capital letter K? The capital letter K as in Kovac. Let's throw that in there too, huh? How about that? One more time, the capital letter K as in Kovac. Mixing it up on the second to last unit.